Hey guys, it's Abby from Motor City Nerds. This lipstick is staining my skin. I just got it and I'm afraid it's going to stain my face, but we're going to take that risk. I saw John Wick 4. Mom's very upset. I'm just hi to all the new subscribers. I feel like I've been really slacking on you guys answering comments and I'm sorry for that. I'm going to be better, but I also need to email Mike because he won the giveaway and I thought I mailed it out right and apparently I didn't, so I need to mail that out. But yeah, let's get right into this. I'm just going to say spoilers because I don't trust myself to not misspeak. Know how much Mom and I love John Wick. So, like I said, needless to say, she's very upset. I posted a short of it. I'll put the link down below because I was genuinely concerned. I don't think I've seen her this upset since Iron Man, but Iron Man she just refuses to acknowledge. She's just like, no. John Wick Chapter 4. This is good. This is good. This is really good as a film, honestly. And you can see that these filmmakers have really come into their own and really have gotten a feel for how to storytell with a camera. I definitely think this would only fall lower on your favorite John Wick movies if you're just like I said, spoilers, it's the one he dies in. And honestly, I'm kind of glad they did that because I didn't want them to make 10 million of these and have it get stale and have this character have nothing left. So I was just like, when you have somebody who's such a big bad like John Wick, who's such a badass, you can't have him just get taken out by somebody, you know what I mean? So I really liked the way they handled that, and I really think this is a good ending to this character's journey, and it was beautiful. But also, these filmmakers made a beautiful movie. This is a very beautiful movie. Does it run on for too long in certain places? Yes. I do think it could have been cut in a few different spots. But as a sequel, fundamentally, I think this might be the best one. Is it my favorite one? I don't know yet, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, no, this is a jam. And off rip, I was just really taken back with how visually different, not different because it's still the same people, but there was just more artisticness to it. It was very beautifully set and done. You could really tell that these filmmakers finally really have a feel on this medium of storytelling, and it shows. I do like how fast-paced it was. I really think everything through Japan moved really well and was really cool. I'm definitely thinking... I really like when, at the end when we see the pencil, so obviously we know something went on there. But right after we met Kane, which we'll get to that, I was like, no, these three, they did something all together back in the day. That's why they're all so familiar with each other, and we don't get confirmation of that directly, but it's just insinuated enough, and I liked that. But off rip, in Osaka, it's sick. Everything in Japan is sick. Also, my favesy actor who plays Musashi in Westworld. And he's head of the Yakuza in, oh my god, Endgame. Yeah, yeah, and he goes up against Hawkeye. This man has one of the greatest speaking voices, and I just love it, and I'm probably going to butcher his name. Is it Hiroyuki Sanada? Yeah, Hiroyuki Sanada. I love him. I love him. He's great. He's great. And so having him in Japan and then having Donnie Yen come in as Kane, oh my god, that was sick. When John Wick's in Japan, everything through that I feel like is paced very well, and I really like that entire run through. At first, I kind of was like, is this going to slow down? And then I was like, I don't want it to slow down, and it doesn't. It's go, 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 go. The only times I thought it was really dragging was in Europe a few times, and the roundabout, which I already hate roundabouts. We don't even have roundabouts over here, so get that nonsense out of here. That was pissing me off because I'm already in a roundabout, but then it wouldn't end. And I was like, this could have stopped maybe 4 or 5 windshields ago, but it was nothing like, oh my god, this is horrible. It's John Wick, and it's a jam. So this is like a sprawling film. We're in Japan. We're in Paris. We're all over the place. They really go all over the place in this, and it's really cool. And I thought maybe there's no way you feel like I see a John Wick movie, I've seen them all. But no, every time I think they can't outdo themselves with the gung fu or the choreography or the driving, they do. And especially in Japan, I felt like there was some really cool stunt work and some really cool choreography going on there. Throughout this movie there is. And that's expected. It's John Wick. The fact that the year The Irishman came out, it was nominated for Best Stunt Work and John Wick wasn't, that's appalling. That's appalling. And that's bullshit. Are you serious? Oh, but I totally forgot that it starts out with him on a horse killing a member, the head of the high table, and I loved them doing that. This entire movie flipped everything that Mom and I thought was going to happen. We thought that Winston and The Bowery King, Lawrence Fishburne, were working together the entire time. Like, to shoot John was a plan. We find out that wasn't the case. We think that John's going to take down the entire high table. That's not how it goes. Like, and they handled all of it very well, and I really liked it. But they show him offing the head table guy, and they just reiterate this to him throughout the movie of saying, like, it's like a Hydra. One goes away, we'll just replace it. Another goes away, we'll just replace it. And so having John get taken down by his mutual peers and a friend that he respects they handled it all very well. I didn't take it as he took him down. I took it as this entire swarms on swarms on swarms slowly pecking away at him, and then the end is what did him in. Like, it was a collective, not just a one-man thing against John. I don't think that's what killed John Wick. I think it was a collective of everybody throughout that beating on him that killed John Wick, is what I'm saying. So yeah, that was not something that I expected at all. And normally from these like big action movies, you think it's going to be like hitting the same beats, and this didn't do that. And I applaud it for that. It did a very good job. I thought Bill Skarsgård did great. Winston, Ian McShane, fantastic. Now, how crazy is it? Rest in peace, Lance Reddick. That is so... Mom and I always hyped up how much we loved his character in John Wick, and he's the concierge. How crazy is it to have him die in the movies, and then we lose him like this, all types of tragic, and it's like, just even the stuff they were saying about him in the movie, that was like touching, and honestly, I feel like even for like people that knew him, was probably a very cathartic thing and a way to say goodbye. Oh my god, and speaking of that, when he got shot, it was awful in the movie, and Mom and I like held hands, and then when the Continental got blown up, oh my god, I was like, oh my god. Also, to the people down the row from us, my mom like let me have the Kill Bill DVD set when I was 12. I'm not saying you can't let your kid watch stuff, but you guys had a toddler up in there. And honestly, that toddler was better behaved than the people diagonal behind us who were talking through the whole thing. All of these themes of friendship and love, and that's the reason to fight, and the reason to keep going is to love, and to have these bonds with people is a really great message. To have this, I really liked everything about it, especially with him passing away. That was just like a very haunting part of it, but it was also very beautiful. But I really just love that in general, of this theme of, this is what we have to live for, is love, loving each other, being friends, being pals, your wife, your husband, your whatever, like, that's the whole point, and it's great, and I love that. And I love that theme can be found in this assassin movie, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't expect that out of these types of movies, you don't, and I think they executed it flawlessly. This movie's like bang, 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 and I love that it pays homage to cowboy movies, like, and it also pays homage heavily to samurai films. If you didn't know this, real quick, samurai films and cowboy films and westerns are essentially identical almost. Westerns were ripping off samurai films for a long, long time, so there's a lot of similarities there. So you'll often hear people when they talk about westerns also bring up samurai films. That's just a very common thing. So I love that this embraces both. And right from the beginning it does, and in both of them, being in Japan and him starting out on the horse, and the music and the score, and I will stand by this, I think John Wick's music is heavily overlooked. I think that's a great score. And this is when we get into the world building and the lore and everything that John Wick has done, and they've done a great job with that. They really have, and it's so big, it's so massive, it's so cool. I loved the radio station coming into play. I thought that was a really cool way to use it. I felt like the clubs, running through the club scene could have been, I feel like a couple of those could have been cut back a little bit, but either way, who am I to say those things? Obviously, everybody who works on these things does a way better job than I could ever do, you know what I'm saying? But, so I'm not hating on anybody's work, I'm just like, you know. But I feel like there's always like an obligatory running through the club scene in these, and when people hate on that, I'm like, yeah. From somebody who was like heavily in the club scene for a long time, Russians do hang out at them. I don't know about in your area, but that's something that, like, that's the one thing that you avoided, depending on who you're hanging out with. John going back to his tribe, Mom did call that. Mom got that right, because she wanted to know when the trailer came out, she was like, they're saying family. Is that blood, or is that his tribe through Angelica Houston's character? Also, shout out to Osha / from Game of Thrones / Tonks. I love that actress. She's awesome. I thought she was cool. She did a great job, and I loved all that stuff and him going back home. But because of the world building and the great way they did it, they also had to like explain it, which is great and fun, and I enjoy it. But I can see where other people would be like, this could be cut back a little bit. But John goes back to Berlin. He finds his old tribe where he came from with Angelica Houston's character, and they need to accept him back in so that they can say, hey, he wants a shot at you from the high table, and then later on I feel like this had different plots throughout it going on, with one overarching one, which is John Wick versus Pennywise, Bill Skarsgård, who he was great. That's the big one. But in between that, there's so much going on, where it's John going home, John having to prove himself, John having to take this guy out and bring back proof of it, and then we can do this. And I really liked that part of it, but some of it I was like, yeah, we are lingering a little bit, but I don't mind it. Honestly, I feel like the one thing that they should have spent more time on was him back in Berlin. I felt like we kind of went fast through that. I really did. I liked seeing John back home and doing the whole ceremony to come back. I did like that. And of course, the whole time that John declares this duel, Pennywise, Bill Skarsgård, he's trying to get out of it. I'm trying to send hordes of guys to get him before he can get to the spot at sunrise. Because that's the other thing they did very well in this that I was not expecting, was we cannot allow him to die a martyr. We can't have everybody cheering his name. It's like Gladiator or The Dark Knight, like when you're an idea, when you are a legend like that, when you are ideology, you are remembered still and you live on through that, and they don't want that. The high table does not want that for John Wick, so I loved him going out on his own terms, and it was great. We have the Winston and the Continental stuff. We have the going back home to Berlin stuff. We have, oh, and then we have the best parts of it, which is the Bowery King stuff with Lawrence Fishburne and all of that. And then we have the overarching plot of going to against the high table duel. And really, man, are we really missing, like, do you guys really miss shots? I don't know. That was the most absurd part of it to me. I was like, really? Seriously? Okay, whatever. I guess those revolvers are like a million years old, so they would probably shoot like shit. Or somebody would get knocked out. Have you ever seen somebody try to shoot an old school pistol and knock themselves out? It's the funniest thing ever. I've only seen it once, but it's like, no, the kickback on those things is like insanity. Fundamentally, I do. I think this was the best sequel. Besides the first one, I think it is the best one. Is it my favorite one? I don't know yet. I might go see it again. I don't know. This had some of the coolest choreography. This had like the best choreography for fighting out of all of it. You could tell they went balls to the wall on that, and they spared no expense. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Then that's the go. Then we still have him being excommunicado, so everybody's still chasing him, and that's when we have this guy show up with a dog. And I loved that, where we started, where we began. When that guy has that gun pointing at that dog, and John's like, not today, and that guy sees, wow, you saved a dog's life over a human life? Like, okay. And then he comes around and looks out in the end, and I thought him drinking his beer to the side was funny. I did. I thought it was funny, and I really liked his character. But that's all going on. There's like 5 or 6 things happening. And then, like I said, the overarching one versus the high table, and there's just a lot. And if you're a John Wick fan, you're going to love it. But there are some spots I feel like it'd be cut down at, but who am I? And I think it's great. And I do think that these filmmakers have really, really gotten a feel for being filmmakers, because they were stuntmen before, and it's good. It is good. And John Wick dying, like I said, I felt like that was a collective of everything coming at him, and it was a great way to go, because I don't want to die the monster. I want to die the husband. I want to die John that married Helen. That's how I want to die, and I want to go out my way. I'm Abby with Motor City Nerds. Make sure you subscribe, comment, share. It really helps me out a lot. Leave a penguin down below. We're going to talk about all types of stuff. We're going to react to stuff. I'm feeling good. We're going to fix this giveaway, Mike, and I'm going to email you because you need to get your Caraxes.